And now, Chapter 7 of African Adventures by Lieutenant Colonel James Pakenham Walsh, retired. The next day, I decided to take my usual pre-breakfast stroll into the jungle to see if I could catch sight of the very rare bird of purgatory, which Trusty, our faithful native guide, had reported seeing the previous evening while he was looking for Harry's leg. Strolling along the jungle path, deeply absorbed in my ornithological quest, I suddenly heard a roar, and spinning round, found myself 10 feet from a charging lion, a magnificent old male with as fine a set of teeth as I've ever seen. I hit him with a left uppercut, and then a cracking good right cross, moving my way into the punch as old Buffy Spaulding had taught me so many years before at Uppingham School. Right into his mane. Then, dancing back a couple of paces, I weaved around, causing the maddened creature to miss wildly with his crude haymakers, while I notched up a few useful points with my left jab. However, after a particularly nifty sidestep, I happened to glance round the clearing, only to discover that our contest was now being watched by a circle of some 15-odd of the lion's chums, some of whom were already beginning to edge forward, manes bristling and teeth akimbo, towards our good selves. It was the work of a moment to divine from their expressions that they were taking a decidedly partisan attitude to our match, and that they would have few qualms about joining in on my opponent's side if necessary. And so, judging that if they did, they would eventually subdue me by sheer weight of numbers, I fainted away from another of the lion's wild rushes and got in a parting short jab to the base of his tail. Not a blow that I was proud of, although it put him down for several minutes, but I felt was excused by the exigencies of the situation, due after all to the unsporting behaviour of his colleagues in the first place, before springing upwards towards a lowly hanging branch of an enormous bwinda tree, a species distantly related to our own elm, some 15 feet above my head. I had not leapt a moment too soon, for though I had gained a firm grasp upon the handy branch, two of the other lions, leaping with me, had each seized one of my trusty boots in their jaws, while a third had succeeded in firmly embedding his fangs in the seat of my pants, albeit not in my sit-upon itself, but in the surrounding material thereof. What a strange sight I must have made, hanging unshaven from the branch with 3 enormous lions attached to me. It was not indeed without difficulty that I pulled myself up until I could take the branch in my teeth, thus freeing my hands from the more important work of discarding my nether apparel. Unlacing a jungle boot while hanging by one's teeth from a tree with 3 angry lions attached is not as easy as it might seem, but eventually it was done, and right boot and lion plummeted back into the clearing, followed rapidly by their opposite numbers. With the vastly reduced load, the shorts were a formality, and in a trice I was seated comfortably on the branch, looking down at the enraged pride beneath, who by now, incidentally, must have numbered well over 100 lions. So I doffed my solar toffee rather humorously in their direction and turned for home and breakfast. Oh, time for my game of snooker. I'll finish the story next week.